Then you've also gone on top of that as Susano and a Nike able to dive on in. Rough game for Big Man, big one for him too.
Thanks, Goran Hindu. Let's kick off the final set of the regular Phase 1. It's Finch and Mifflin that are going to be here for it as Sanguine and Radiance battling it out for that first seed. Radiance, though, can't really shift much between 4th and 5th.
The early game, her mobility is very lacking, and with a roar on this Khepri, an abduct would almost certainly spell death.
Hey, we've seen games where Yamoja's... she's got good mobility with Riptide as Tings is brought down low but survives. Shinto uses the Aegis for an extra shot, the beads rather, and it ends up working out. Sanguine fine first blood. It just feels like when they get to that 30-minute and beyond threshold, other teams can't quite compete with their team fight as the Rivers Rebuke does lock down Tings. He drops the Argus at his feet to buy time, but that's just too much damage point blank. But in comes the Anvil of Dawn. Adapting wants revenge, and he absolutely gets it. A 2-for-1 in favor of Radiance.
Almost all on Adapting's back. Yeah, Aurora was there, but it's only because Adapting finds the two-man dunk, instantly finds the kill. There was no time for the beads to come through for Shinto, but he uses them anyway. No longer available, doesn't even save his life. Adapting can keep running it down mid. That's the double-edged sword that is hell.
And this is brutal. If Panatom dies here, he gets caught by the Abduct. The hammer isn't enough to find the kill. Typhoon buys him time, but not enough. Adapting beats through it, willingly dies to the tower to get the reset off the Scarab's Blessing. And this is what a Thor can do for you in the early game. They'll need more of this same pressure from Adapting. His disposal right now, Myth.
He does. I would say ganking anywhere besides solo lane should go his way unless Benji somehow forces out the Sentinel of Zeus on his own. But as I say that, blue buff dunked, Panatom dead, buff invade going the way of Radiance. Adapting is doing it all, man. It's the Adapting show right now. 3-0-1, 100%. Radiance already has some anti-heal online, Brawler's Beak Stick, and Divine Ruin. That's a fast power spike, but Sanguine looking for their own fight.
They are, and that was even without the ultimate from Wrong You. It was just Shinto and Panatom getting aggressive, and boy, do they pay for it. Adapting again. Have we said anyone else's name even during this set so far, as he's 4-0-1 and just running things through the to punish Panatom in the jungle, and I don't think that he knows. Wall into the hammer, into the spin. Panatom, though, makes it back to the tier 2, but that damage is still done.
If Panatom's just on the other side of that wall, he loses his life to the dash, but now Wrong-You wants to do some aggression on the other side. Aurora and BMT seeing what they can do, but the healing comes out from Shinto.
And they still get the kill. Big Man Ting's the one that gets credit for it. Rivers Rebuke will keep Adapting a bit locked in. He uses beads again the second they're off cooldown, so Nectroid dashes in, tries to weave in the autos, and Yarkor has gotten involved to find a kill. Shinto finds one too. Nectroid gets the kill on the Tings. He's low, but Cyclone Spin knocked up at the Aegis will not buy him enough time. Nectroid with the double somehow turns it around into a 4-for-1.
Especially considering Panatom was forced out of that engagement before it even starts. Now he's half health because he got to rotate in after coming back from...
Certainly could still be a big turning factor when he starts to get a bit more involved as well.
Benji's going to make it absolutely rough for Nectroid to do anything in the back line, but now Panatom already in the lane, going to put Cyclone in the dirt, trades out the blink, Cyclone loses his beads, but his life as well. He might have to be worried about a secondary rotation from Panatom. They've got this Yamoja, right. They've got Hell. The longer a fight goes on, regardless of how many lives they have to burn through, Sanguine's going to be the beneficiary.
Perhaps Radiance bringing not quite enough tools for these long fights. There's trouble in the backline for Wrong You. He was all alone on an island. He does have some pretty fancy of that momentum, so they slow it down in the early... Getting closer to the mid-game now and buy themselves some more time as Big Man Tings is going to be collapsed on. Yarkor making his presence felt here again as Benji is in the fray too. But what about Adapting way in the backline? He's suddenly incredibly low. There is the Scarab's Blessing. He will get that reset, but Yarkor is not done. Blink in cannot find that hit with the shield, but is still hunting for this kill. A good wall will finally buy Adapting a little bit of room to breathe.
Shinto frontlined that entire engagement. After the pick, he doesn't do anything fruity. They don't do anything cheesy. They're not using Horus Ultimate to reposition on the map. They're not going for weird Gold Fury calls. They just fight as a team, and they do it better than anyone else.
This could be a bad situation. Is up to the sky, goes adapting. He's found his target. It's Shinto who's low. They will bring in Benji to tag in and maybe keep this chase going, but Shinto has lived through it all. They have already let it get to the point where they can't kill the hell. Now Yarkor is right in the thick of it. Panatom gets the kill into Benji. Aurora is too close to the wood chipper. That is Netroid as Yarkor finds another. Sanguine ready to keep up the gas as into the airstrike goes the Jingwei, trying to chase down big man Tings, who does find a little bit of respite with the polymorph, but Sanguine are not slowing down. The slow is there from the hell as Shinto gets another. They'd love adapting too as Yu gets to eat. Sanguine starting to bring the pain.
Radiance just gets sucked into Sanguine's pace every single engagement. They get tunnel vision when they drop someone low. They forget that Sanguine has so much healing on their side. They re-engage after the healing comes through. I mean, Radiance, you gotta slow it down a little bit. Once a kill's out, you have to let it go. Sanguine returned quickly with 3 kills and likely a Fire Giant.
It's theirs, isn't it? Because Yarkor's zone is so strong. I was worried about this point in the game when both solo laners started to get, he shows up on the map. Now they've got the tier 2 tower in left, and they're threatening the left Phoenix. Someone has to back to defend it, but already it's in trouble. They're able to keep putting in auto damage even through the River's Rebuke as Panatom takes a little bit of tower shots. Now they've left Netroid up there alone, but they get the Phoenix. He retreats with the airstrike, adapting dunks into the backline, but Panatom has already removed Tings, and Yarkor's not done. Sentinel Zeus slows damn near everybody. Adapting does get successfully revived, but he cannot run far enough to get out of Sanguine's reach as he barely makes it back all the way to the fountain. This is a new type of Sanguine.
And Benji trying his best in the backline, but the healings come through. Shinto was at a quarter health just 20 seconds ago, and now it's Benji who's on the chopping block, dead. 2 members dead on the side of Radiance. Still 3 towers left up. The Phoenix can't really be got to yet. The Titan not really on the menu, but Sanguine with this gold lead, maybe they try it anyway.
Maybe they are going to look for the end. I mean, we're 10 seconds from Tings being back. He won't have Argus, but if he is still back up, that's so much AoE damage that he will provide. Can they buy enough time? Shinto not even damaging the Titan. He's zones adapting away. The squad is still full HP. They can keep this push going. Yarkor does finally fall.
30%.
The Titan drops to half. It's incredibly low, but Radiance now have just about their full team up, and that is enough to push Sanguine finally out of their base.
I can't blame Sanguine for getting swept up in the momentum there. I was as well. But that's a risky Titan call with 3 towers still up. That means that there's so much protections coming through. Now Yu has to escape. Aurora on the chase at level 10, not much he can do. If Panatom rotates over, this might be some more kills for Sanguine.
Yeah, they need to make sure they don't overstep here. Do Radiance. In comes the ult. It lands onto Yu, and adapting cleans up a kill relatively easily. That's good that Radiance were able to find it. Now we can take a moment here, Mifflin, to breathe. Radiance will be grabbing the Oni Fury on the back of this, but Sanguine are catching a roar. He gets a little too greedy. Adapting teleports to the hammer to get away as the rest of the squad still works on Oni, but Panatom is on the way. Radiance do grab the Fury, but Panatom wants to fight. Typhoon to chase down Cyclone Spin, who doesn't have the relics, and Panatom able to make it out with his life. The cleanse is there from Shinto as well as Sanguine find one more return punish.
Slowed down a lot by having to delay that Thebes.
That's right. He does have the Pestilence and the Sovereignty, so he's got the physical and magical prods, but maybe just not quite as much as normal. They lock down Aurora first. Out comes the Cursed Ankh from him, so he does get that value as he drops the Scarab's Blessing on himself. But what about Shinto? There is a assassin on his back, and the name is Benji, but he could not get the job done or complete the contract. Instead, Sanguine will punish him for it summarily for heading into their backline. Netroid gets the kill credit, and right to the Fire Giant goes Sanguine.
That's been the story of Radiance's life this entire game. Someone drops Shinto low, it doesn't matter who it is, then they tunnel vision a little bit too long. Sanguine says, oh, you need some help? Okay, let me drop my shell. Yu's got some healing, you can heal off.
4 members here, and Yarkor in mid. The left side Phoenix is the weakened one, but Netroid takes a lot of damage. Benji goes right into the Dazzling Offensive and locks down Yu first, but no big follow-up. Sanguine still has some room to breathe, but there is the Typhoon. They knock up Benji, and Aurora takes a ton of damage. River's Rebuke isolates the front line, and suddenly it's time for Panatom to find the double. He's unstoppable at this point as Sanguine continue to surge.
Sanguine spot out the engagement from Radiance instantly. All 5 members disengaged so far. That's why we see Adapting wait so long on the ultimate. He had no good targets. If he dunks one group on Sanguine, the other's going to blow him up. They just play the fight too well, and Radiance play to the fiddle. That is Sanguine's disengage.
But now with the Titan at half HP, Radiance desperately trying to keep Sanguine out, but there's too much sustain, and Sanguine find the game they need to guarantee a top 2 finish.
Khepri and Matarasu coming back, and that Agni coming through. If you had to give it to one of these teams real quick, do you think Radiance has changed enough to turn this one around in their favor?
It's closer. I think this is a big game for Big Man Tings and Cyclone specifically. I think we'll see the similar sort of thing.
Thanks, Gore and Hindu. Still Finch and Mifflin on the call, as Sanguine has indeed locked up a bye, essentially, into the quarterfinals at the playoffs. Now, it's just a competition for if they can get first. And I believe at this, he has revealed himself in solo, so no big surprise gank or anything to worry about there. But look at this aggression. We just saw Adapting teleport to Hammer on the map, so they want to get here as quickly as possible for exactly this. There's the dunk down as Netroid gets the ultimate off in time. Cyclone Spin is rezzed by Aurora, so he still stands. But even Big Man Tings is making his presence felt, but it cannot counteract Shinto. First blood for Sanguine, but Radiance answer back. They get a kill from Cyclone Spin that was desperately needed onto Panatom, but what about the continued aggression? Tings is stuck too far forward, and Rongyu able to shut him down.
Yarkor was there as well. He got over there incredibly quickly. I'm not sure that it used his teleport. He just walked from lane. That's a big swing for Benji, and also a huge swing for Shinto picking up Cyclone Spin there. And that's exactly what you don't want. It's almost second first, same as the first. Radiance look for aggression.
Now there's no way he's going to be able to reach him with the ultimate, so the second Anvil of Dawn gets nothing. Plus Sanguine saw it, so the Rivers of Butte comes out. They will be locking down Tings again with the Pokemon type advantage, Water v Fire. Tings, though, undeterred, has the dash and is able to escape. It's up to Yarkor to lock him down. Good Noxious Fumes should buy him a moment. Benji comes in as well, but we might have been following the wrong action. Shinto gets the kill onto Aurora elsewhere as Big Man Tings escapes, but still Panatom wants more aggression. Cannot quite lock down Benji. And
Sanguine at this point, they know that they don't really need to win out in early because they have such a strong late game draft. Radiance are still gonna have to do more to keep afloat.
Did you see Benji looking around? How am I suddenly surrounded? I agree, my man. Suddenly, Sanguine have 4 people on this side of the map. Dazzling Offensive does allow for some slight repositioning, but you will not live when Sanguine commit that many people to killing you. It's a question of what can Radiance do on the backswing, but the Fury was already down.
His health bar immediately gets it renewed by Shinto, and they pull out the Gold Fury again. Any damage that Sanguine find onto Radiance is going to be so critical.
Aurora uses Abduct, so he does not get caught in the CC chain. Rongyu is low early, but they lock in Adapting. He takes to the sky, goes up, because he cannot go to the sides, and cannot afford to land back down in this engagement. Instead, he goes to mid, and knowing they don't have to worry about the Anvil of Dawn, Sanguine pull the Fury again, but that's a ton of damage from Tings. Look how low Panatom is in the backline, and Benji gets the kill credit for it here this time. Now that he's stuck in the backline, though, his life might be forfeit, but Aurora is there. Tings has another big impact in the fight by shutting down Yarkor. Now Shinto is the furthest member forward, abducted back in, and Tings gets a double the Agni, making a big difference this time as Radiance find the 4-0.
Meanwhile, Adapting, the guy who was forced out of that fight before Radiance win it cleanly, 4 versus 5, yeah, he rotated over to Soul Lane. That's a tier 1 tower. Gold Fury now getting aggressed on by Radiance as well. Tier 2 under duress for Sanguine. If Adapting decides to stick it in, just someone can get onto BMT and create some space. That's how Sanguine's going to win the engagement.
Yeah, I wonder if that range CC is making things different as a big Rivers of Butte comes through, but a 3-man stun from Tings barrel stuffs it all. Aurora still takes a ton of damage and will fall early, but up in the sky is Adapting. He lands in the back line looking for Panatom. The spin is almost enough, and Adapting makes it 1-for-1 jungle for support. And Radiant still have a lot more health on their side than Sanguine does, so they continue to aggress, looking for Yarkor, the Osiris that's up front, but they can't lock him down. Instead, Radiance head back towards the FG pit, looking
on a Shinto. They have to spend the entire time running away instead of looking for return damage. Radiance are in the driver's seat again. 5,000 nearly gold up, and Fire Giant being burned quickly.
Started up by Radiance. Yarkor forces his way in, but takes a ton of damage. Lord of the Afterlife on the backline does put some anti-heal out there, but he was largely alone for most of that. Now Rongyu will fall as well as the Fire Giant does get lower. Trying to force his way in is Shinto, but there's nothing he can do either. Radiance have now upset Sanguine and are the ones in control of this game. They grab the FG and win the fight handily.
Sanguine walk in one at a time. I mean, normally I'd break down what Radiance did well there, and it was just being there. Sanguine just handed it over.
And Netroid looking for some turnaround shots, but there's nothing there either. The Typhoon for Panatom, as Sanguine starting to get a bit out of sorts, and Radiance happy to capitalize on it. They take the tier 2 tower in right and use this deicide to start threatening the right side Phoenix. Sure, wrong U is up, but one Yamoja will not be stopping this. The right Phoenix will come down, and Radiance might be able to go for more here, Myth. 24 minutes into the game, they're right on the doorstep of Sanguine's base.
But with Yarkor spawning in 3 seconds, they have to back up. There's so many towers available. It's almost
need to bend, not break, as Radiance have all 5 members piled up on this left side Phoenix. Remember, eventually Fire Minions will show up in right and start to threaten. There's the Frenzy popped on both sides now as Panatom gets deleted. 3 big shots, and Adapting finds the first kill. One member has been locked down by the ultimate from Cyclone Spin, and once he lands, it'll be an unhappy welcome. It's Yarkor that's sent to the grave as Radiance continue to push in with Fire Minions pouring in from right. They've got the numbers advantage too if they want to go ahead and look for the end. Benji dashes in first. The rest of Radiance are right there behind him. Netroid has pulled some attention on the left-hand side. He escapes with the airstrike, but Radiance certainly still in control. The Titan starting to buckle, and Radiance drag us into a game number 3.
2 quick matches. Radiance, I really didn't...
This is a 50-50 game. To me, I can't make a call. I will say, it feels very get out, but sod it, I'm having a get out clause, okay? I don't know. I do think Ul's an important pick in this one. I don't think I've seen Ul shine enough this year to warrant him being picked as highly as he has. And I do think he's a little bit susceptible here to some of the dive potential that Sanguine have.
Thank you, Goran Hindu, as we move into the last game of phase number 1. Don't worry, the playoffs are still next week, so Smite's not going anywhere. But it looks as though Sanguine and Radiance want to close this chapter.
Of course it is, but he still deals enough. It's the fact that if he dunks in, he might lose his life. With a roar, not an issue.
Adapting, still in trouble way in the back, but Aurora was patient, does eventually drop that ultimate, and that has left Wrongu in the back to take a ton of damage, and Benji's on his way to collect, to get first blood on the Wrongu 12.5 minutes in. And even though Netroid's hitting all his shots, they don't do that much damage to Benji, who drops the Colossal Fury and looks to keep up the chase. Aurora can't quite connect, so there will be no more action in the middle lane, but Benji continues to look in the jungle. 3 games in a row makes me think he must be giving a little bit of this farm away, because we know my man can find it elsewhere. Cyclone Spin does good work to force out the beach from Panatom, so Adapting knows he has a target, locks Panatom down, and gets the second kill of the game for Radiance.
Radiance is just hitting their pace a little bit more, and the chase is still on. Return damage from Shinto might dissuade them a bit, but Gold Fury is available, and Panatom's dead for 20 full seconds.
Going late. I mean, obviously the healing from Yamoja will be difficult to deal with, and you love the Raijin Jingwei scaling into the late, but a lot of that is true for Radiance, as they're considering starting up another Gold Fury. And again, Wrongu taking a ton of poke as Big Man Tings looks good. Aurora is taken up to the sky by Panatom, lands back down into the damage, but is able to use the Scarab's Blessing on himself. So Adapting goes to the back line. Netroid gets the kill into Aurora, but Adapting gets the double. Panatom and Wrongu both end up pushing up daisies as Netroid wants to get aggressive, dashing for Cyclone Spin, but cannot find the kill. Instead has to airstrike defensively as Benji stomps on Shinto in the mid lane. That's another 3rd kill for Radiance.
Panatom starting off that fight with a Naja ult onto a Khepri. I mean, what is he expecting there? No one's going to be able to do enough burst damage with first tick to make sure...
It is, and this is where that patient playstyle from Adapting looks so strong, because as soon as Sanguine finally sort of blink, you know, in that staring contest, then that's when he pulls the trigger. Wrongu must have been blinking too, as he gets blown up by Tings and Aurora, and now the Gold Fury started up by Radiance. It's already down below 1,000, and nothing Sanguine could do to stop it.
Overall, but when you're trying to shut down someone instantly, that's not the answer. Right now, Yarkor moving up to the Fire Giant, and it seems like Radiance already have the Pyro pulled. I hope they don't do the same as last game and walk in one at a time.
Well, whatever they do, Panatom won't be a part of it. He's been removed instantaneously. So Sanguine step on the gas. Tycho Drums comes out, but Adapting gets to the skies in time. Cyclone Spin is revived as well. A huge stripe gets the beads out from Shinto, and Yarkor has to regroup with the squad, but Benji was waiting in the back line to blow it all up. Ends up falling right away, does Yarkor, and Sanguine are fully on the retreat. But I don't think Adapting is. Shinto gets a kill off the back of the Thunder Crash to make it 2 for 1.
But Benji's not done just yet. Wrong you under the tower. Big baby, yeah, that's AoE auto, son. You're not going to be able to escape that one. Netroid on the chase. No help yet. BMT starts his rotation in. Seems like Benji's going to make it out there. And if I think I saw it right,
going to get a more favorable fight. They probably have to come out and try and contest this FG as Big Man Tings shows just how much damage he has. Wrong you gets put down to critical condition, but Tings has been caught in the web by Panatom, and that was too much. Roar wasn't able to find the Scarab's Blessing. He didn't have it up, which meant they were able to complete the kill.
Now 50 seconds left on the spawn. Sanguine doesn't have enough gold now to look at Fire Giant, but they can look at these neutral objectives, the permanent objectives inside.
Up in position to play defense, but Radiance really are not here in full force. In comes the Golden Apple. That doesn't find much. Sanguine give up the Fire Giant. Yarkor gets the ultimate off in time, just barely to be able to rejoin this fight and try and help out. Panatom has grabbed a target. It was Big Man Tings that get the kill. Adapting lands at the back. There must have been a shell to keep them alive, because that should have been a kill, but Cyclone Spin completes it by taking care of Shinto. But now Sanguine are fully on the run. Riptide allows for them to look for the disengage, but Radiance are on the full-on chase. Adapting teleports to Hammer to look to lock down Panatom. There is the sash, but now he's the furthest member forward. Benji looks for more damage, but Radiance can't find any more lives.
One man.
Do you think it'll be enough?
It's going to be hard. Already we've seen that Shinto's had a hard time finding his taiko drums in the backline because the aggression from Benji, from the aggression from Adapting. It's going to be very difficult, especially considering Adapting just finished Heartseeker. Those dunks that were killing him before, now they're overkilling.
But the FG is low. Yarkor is trying to disrupt, but Radiance strip the Fire Giant away. Netroid does get the kill onto Adapting, and Benji's taking a ton of damage too. The Scarab's Blessing lets him stay alive, but Panatom is close. As soon as the Scarab's Blessing is over, he's there with the Windfire Wheel, so Benji should be a done deal. He'll fall to Yarkor. Radiance might have got the FG, but it feels like this is Sanguine's moment.
They might be able to knock down a Phoenix here. The ultimate's still available for Discordia, which is going to be a huge AoE on this team fight, but the healthy targets on the side of Sanguine, all of them completely full health. 2 members dead on the side of Radiance for 30 seconds, and Aurora at only level 13, he's going to be pretty squishy. Any CC that finds his way home there should put him down.
Aurora pops the frenzy, but Cyclone Spin is the target. They get to him instantly and bring him to his knees. Aurora in trouble too. That's a double kill now for Netroid. But time is ticking, Adapting back up in 10 seconds, and the Phoenix still half health. Big damage from Tings. Does take care of Shinto, so that means Sanguine no longer have a chance to do more than this. They've got to get the Phoenix and leave, but Tings gets the double. River's Rebuke is all for the mean business at this point because it's such a big ultimate. They will use the Emoja ult to keep everyone zoned out, but Adapting can go up and over it. Primal Fury secured by Radiance, but what about the fight as the dunk was huge? Sanguine have scattered at this point like roaches when the lights come on, but what can Radiance do to try and lock them down? Nothing from Benji as the blink gets Panatom out of there. On the left side, Sanguine in more trouble as Adapting teleports over the wall with the hammer, and suddenly there's a big baby looking for Shinto in the backline, but there's just barely enough peel to allow Sanguine to reset, so Radiance keep up the chase under the Phoenix. They take down Yarkor. Wrong you will fall as well, as suddenly Radiance have flipped this game on its head.
Sanguine making it so far back there might be a double-edged sword. Now the respawns are staggered even further. Radiance get repulsed back on that push. They can't get the Phoenix themselves. A little bit of an overstay as Sanguine was able to make it back into base and re-engage. Now it's Radiance on the retreat from Wrong Yusuke to stay in this fight a little bit longer. And now Ool's all the way back at the speed buff, and Fire Giant's already been pulled.
Down to half HP. Sanguine have to reset, though. They can't stick it. Yarkor goes into the ultimate and starts the backline dive. River's Rebuke locks in 2 members, and they burn Aurora quickly. That was the ultimate we've been waiting for from Wrong You. Big Man Tings puts the apple into the backline, but he doesn't find nearly enough damage. The Yamoja sustained. The Yamoja lockdown. At this point, it's too strong, Myth.
That's just Wrong You diff right there. He finds the commitment. Aurora doesn't even get a chance to use his ultimate in that engagement. That's poor play. The shell didn't get used either, so now the defensive relics will be up on the defense of the base if Sanguine does go for the Fire Giant, but instead, Benji getting chased out.
If he doesn't have Colossal Fury, they know that he is a weak target. Riptide pulls him back in. Wrong view. Continues to make the plays, but adapting hits everybody with the Anvil of Dawn. That might send it back in the other direction. Shinto does get the kill to bring the Thor down, but they lock down Cyclone Spin, but he finds a double bladed arrow, hits everybody. Cyclone Spin with the triple does get the deicide, but it's just him and Tings. Stay on it at this point. It's too hefty of a commitment. Panatom uses the sash to avoid getting grabbed by the abduct, I believe. That's a big play he's able to make as Yarkor takes the apple, but does get to the sky in time, so he will not fall. Meanwhile, adapting, being careful with his target, lands on Wrong Hue, but doesn't get enough. Meanwhile, Panatom was stuck in the middle of everybody and ends up falling first. Radiance have done enough to give themselves the advantage. They're pulling FG.
Yarkor was about to return to base, but doesn't have the teleport available at 1/4 health. Radiance again showing so much. Sanguine's gonna have a hard time fighting into this defense.
It's great awareness from Radiance. They had time for this full reset and then to start the Fire Giant, still with the advantage. Now with the vision advantage, as you said, on the actual Fire Giant pit itself. The FG's down to half. This fight could determine the set as Radiance bring the Fire Giant down even lower. Sanguine right around the edge, start to move in. They drop the River's Rebuke. That zones out a couple members, but adapting wants the back line. Up in the air with the Anvil of Dawn. Dunks down, finds Shinto, forces Beads and Aegis and keeps up the chase. Wrong You, though, does find the root. The return damage is strong, but Aegis immunes a lot of it as Adapting stays alive. But they've got Yarkor rooted on the front line, but he blows up Adapting, not planning to go down just yet. Somehow Sanguine have found enough of a defense.
Panatom's back and healthy. The majority of Radiance is around 1/4 health now. If Panatom can find anyone with a Windfire wheel, that'll be another pick, another way in. Yarkor just TP'd in!
That means they've got another health bar here, Mifflin, another tanky member that can look for a bit more. Aurora now drops, Adapting dead for another 45 seconds, and it's Sanguine with the opportunity to get the Fire Giant in the late game. Radiance could not fight through cleanly enough to capitalize on that opportunity.
40 seconds left on Adapting spawn. They should be able to burn down this Fire Giant and then immediately move in towards the mid-Phoenix. Adapting will spawn with his ultimate. He should be able to respond from Fountain, but it's not enough. Aurora's dead for 40 seconds, and Panatom forces the beads on Cyclone Spin?
And Core, he's walking his way over. He's not going to use his teleport, though Panatom does have to use the Windfire wheels. So no ultimate for the Naja jungle, but Yarkor will still have that extra life in his back pocket.
Which is going to be incredibly nice for him. He's going to have to work his way in. Panatom pushed up a little bit far on right, gets spotted out. Adapting, looking for the dunk.
He lands right into the backline, wants to get rid of Shinto, but he does not have the damage. Panatom blows him up right away. Benji now looking for the disengage as well, but Yarkor comes pouring in with that Jormungandr ultimate. Shinto takes care of Aurora. Now Cyclone Spin in trouble on the right side. Sash lets him keep up the chase. Cyclone Spin gets one, but it won't be enough as Netroid cuts him down to size. Sanguine in 51 minutes now have the final advantage, and they'll start pushing on the right side.
I'm not willing to count Radiance out just yet. We've seen what BMT can do on these defenses. Discordia is absolutely crippling. It's going to be so hard to get through. Strife and Unruly Magic miss. Sanguine have a free way in.
Netroid dashing to the backline, trying to keep Tings out of this one. Meanwhile, Benji largely ignored by the Sanguine boys. They turn their attention back towards the right side, Phoenix, and bring it down, opening up the base of Radiance yet again. But do they feel comfortable in the 4v2? Netroid and Wrongyu are both low HP, 25 seconds before Adapting comes back out to rejoin Radiance. But Yarkor's already in. The River's Rebuke has been dropped as well. They're looking to all in the Titan. Wrongyu lives through the damage coming out from the apple. Netroid still takes to the sky. Benji gets one, but it is not enough. Sanguine able to take the win over Radiance and your first seed.
That